this challenge? Explain.
And the naive view is this counter-speech doctrine that we just need more information, and if you have a lot of information, again, the truth will just come up, will float up, that in a kind of free market of information, the truth will win, and it won't. You need to tilt the balance in favor of truth. Because, again, as I said before, it's costly, it's rare, and more to the point, the truth is complicated and often painful.
Does tilt include stop, delist, censor?
No, not censor.
Okay.
But take responsibility. It's really an editorial question.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, it's like, you know, what is the job of an editor of a big newspaper? The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. It's not to censor people. It's to decide what should be on the front page of the newspaper. You have all this ocean of information, and what you learn, your job is to see what is the most reliable information and important information. You don't censor. You don't tell people you can't say that.
But let's drill down, because you're still speaking at an altitude.
Yeah.
Is fact-checking always worthwhile, or do you see it as a kind of decision tree where if you are controlling the New York Times, some of that material shouldn't even be fact-checked on the front page because you're now platforming it? What does it mean to say it's naive to fact-check?
No, it's not naive to fact-check. Before you decide to put a story on your front page, you obviously need to fact-check it.
But I'm saying, what is the naive part? Because you say that in here, that the response to speech, bad speech with good speech, is itself naive. Mm-hmm. What makes that naive?
Again, the naive reaction is to say, okay, let's just have more information out there, and the truth will win as a result. It won't. The idea of a newspaper is that you have an institution which just doesn't just flood people with random information. It makes a rational selection based, for instance, on fact-checking, what to put the focus on. What we've seen with, for instance, social media is that algorithms are now playing this important role of editors, but the question that interests the algorithms and their human bosses is not what is the truth, but what will get user engagement.
Yeah, I watched your long discussion with Mark Zuckerberg, and you don't have to comment on this if you don't want to, but it was like two people talking past each other for quite a while. Because you were raising substantive evidence-based points about the algorithm, and then he would broaden out, and he made it sound like he was the world's digital pope, and all he's thinking about is how to help community. But we know that's not true. Indeed, he has a fiduciary duty to make money, and as you put it, keep people on the screens. I want to ask one more question on the naive part and then move to other things, but
maybe I'll just comment on that.
Please.
That you know, they constantly raise the issue of freedom of speech. Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and the other people who now control maybe the most powerful media platforms in the world. And they say, we don't want to censor human users. But it's not about the human users. It's about the corporate algorithms.
Right.
Humans produce enormous amounts of content on social media. They produce hate-filled conspiracy theories, and they produce cooking lessons and biology lessons and funny cat videos and whatever. And I think I agree with them that we should be very, very careful before we censor and ban human beings. But the problem begins not with when a human posts some hateful conspiracy theory online, but when the Facebook algorithm or the Twitter algorithm makes a decision to recommend and promote and spread and autoplay this particularly hate-filled video in pursuit of user engagement.
Right,
and this is something that the corporations should be accountable for.
Right, and I thought you were very important on that, and the language matters so much because you wouldn't be in a position to probably know this, but before this, I practiced First Amendment law in the United States. I worked for Floyd Abrams, who won the Pentagon Papers case and other big landmark decisions, and so we've done a lot of thinking about First Amendment and free speech principles.
Yeah.
A lot of them are bastardized in today's discourse by political and tech leaders to exactly the opposite of the point you were making, which is freedom of speech, that the government doesn't jail you for participating in public life or politics is very different from what they want, which is control of volume.
Yes.
And as you just said, and maybe you can speak about this, Facebook, whether it meant to or not, for profit and other reasons, was turning up the volume on hate speech, which was correlated with violent attacks.
Yeah, and many of these companies, they still give the algorithms that are now the editors the task of increasing user engagement. And the algorithms experimented on millions of human guinea pigs and discovered that if you want user engagement, if you want to glue people to the screen, the easiest way to do it is to press the hate button and the fear button and the greed button in our minds. And this is what they did. And this is what they should be liable for. Again, it's like the editor of a big newspaper that decides to publish a hate-filled conspiracy theory on the front page. And when you tell them, what did you do? They say, you know, I didn't invent this conspiracy theory. I didn't do anything. I just decided to put it on the front page.
Well, as you know, in the United States, you say liable. Many of them are not liable because the Digital Millennium Copyright Act grants them a very special digital immunity. You think that should be ended?
Again, that they shouldn't be liable for the content produced by the users. They should be liable for the decisions made by their own algorithms.
Right, what I'm calling the volume.
Yes.
They should, you feel.
Because this is what they do. This is on them. It's not the users who are deciding what to put on the volume. This is what the corporations are deciding, and this is what they should take responsibility for.
And I have two examples of recent